Hi, this is Kimball Bullington. This is Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt measurement phase overview. So we've finally left define, and we're not going to spend as much time on measure. And it's not because measure is not important, but I think we're just going to be able to cover what we need to cover a lot quicker, a little bit less ambiguity in the measurement phase. So we'll look at expectations, planning, and we'll actually divide this up into two parts and then introduce the concept of operational definitions, and finally, what are the measurement phase deliverables. Well, as you can read, the purpose of the measurement phase is to collect current performance of the process identified in the defined phase. So it's current performance. So think in terms of that current state process map. We're going to define that process. What is the current state? And then we're going to use the data that we collect to determine sources of variation and serve as a benchmark to validate improvements. So two concepts. First is sources of variation. So Six Sigma is very much concentrated on reducing variation and with that reducing cost. And so we have to be able to measure with sufficient accuracy, precision, and resolution to be able to measure whether we have reduced it or not. And then the second concept is benchmark to validate improvements. We want to be able to show management, we want to be able to show ourselves, the team, that we have actually achieved improvement and it's measurably improved. One of the tools that we use early on, and we use it in the define phase, we use it again in the measurement phase, is the cause and effect diagram. It really, one of the purposes we use it in the measurement phase is because it shows measurements. It gives us a place to identify measurements in the context of the whole system. And I would say that quite often this is the hardest of these 6 bones to fill out. For me, it's certainly one of the hardest, one of the top 2 hardest for me. In this particular example, the effect was to learn to play the guitar, and here are some of the measurements associated. And another example, in the past, I was writing a book, and that was my desired outcome. And I tended to focus on output sort of measures. So I will achieve this number of pages or this number of chapters by this date. And the fact is, time went by and I didn't achieve that. So I began to look at my measurements more carefully, and I asked myself, what do real writers, people like Stephen King, for instance, who's written on the subject, what do real writers use? What measurements do they use to drive improvement? I found that they measured words per day. Didn't matter who the writer was or what the genre was, they almost all measured words per day. And I found that when I started using that measurement, progress happened. So measurements can actually cause progress. Another concept that we're going to look at just briefly is the ideas of resolution precision and accuracy. So we have 4 examples here. The first is high precision and low accuracy. Notice there's a very tight group, but it's not centered on the bullseye. Then we have high precision, high accuracy, a tight group that is centered on the bullseye. And then down below we have low precision and low accuracy. It's not a tight group, it's a very large group, and it's not centered on the bullseye. And then finally, low precision, big group, but high accuracy. It is centered on the bullseye. Obviously, probably pretty obvious that we would like high precision and high accuracy. And probably also very obvious that we would really hate low precision, low accuracy. But of these other 2, which would you prefer? Would you prefer high precision, low accuracy, or low precision, high accuracy? And the answer probably is it depends. And yet, in a lot of situations, I would much prefer the high precision, low accuracy. If any of you are shooters, you know that if you're shooting a rifle with a scope and you come up with this scenario, I'm not bothered at all because I can make some very simple click-based adjustments on our scope and just walk that group down to the bullseye. So that's very doable. On the other hand, this low precision high accuracy. How do I get this group smaller? That could be any number of issues, and some of them hard. It may be that that particular rifle just won't shoot accurately. It may be that I could improve the rifle, maybe bed the barrel differently. It could be the ammunition I'm using. It could be, perish the thought, the shooter, in which case maybe some practice, maybe some training will improve it somewhat, but I'm probably never going to get very accurate. We can also think of the concept of resolution, and resolution usually is more comparable with precision. So here are two scales, a kitchen scale. This is the Iscali Primo, which is like the Amazon's most recommended scale. And then here's a bathroom scale, the Taylor High Precision Lithium. That's the name of it, the High Precision Lithium. So it must be precise, right? Because it's in the name. I don't want to use this in the bathroom because it won't go up to my weight. It won't even accommodate my weight. But I don't want to use this one, even if it's good and clean. I don't want to use this one in the kitchen. Why? Well, this one has a resolution of 1 gram, meaning that's the increments that are going to come up in the display. Hopefully it's that accurate and that precise as well. The bathroom scale has a resolution of 0.2 pounds, 1 gram versus 0.2 pounds. I didn't use my calculator, but 0.2 pounds is around 90 grams. If the math I did in my head is right. 90 grams. That means it's going to be clicking back and forth with plus and minus 90 grams for plus and minus 1 gram. This won't work in the kitchen. You can't use this in the kitchen. It may be high precision, as it says, and it may be highly accurate, but it's not adequate for me in the kitchen. So different scales, different purposes, different measurement systems, different measurement processes. So we need to keep this in mind. And we'll come back to and develop the concept of measurement a little bit more in the next video.